Hey y'all, Bad Girl Mystic here. I think I'm starting to catch on to how to use, finally, my, what do you call this? The camera stand thingy. Anywho, so I want to talk to you guys about, New Moon Alchemy. Right now I've got, my Spotify, like the playlist they choose for you. And, I thought that was kind of apropos. Under Pressure by David Bowie and Queen, one of my favorite songs. But of course it is, because it's conditioned from that. Anywho, so what have I got going on for New Moon? And what is it that I want to share with you? And just FYI, it's Witchy Wednesday. So I want to be like totally upfront and just say this is for my magical babes, my witch sisters. I'm gonna go there because this is where my focus is. And my purpose of this vlog was always just to share in real time what I do to work with my shadows and triggers with PTSD and trauma, and specifically with a creative practice. And that practice is aligned with witchcraft. That is the formula that I use to connect and ground in my earthship. So what I'm going to use for new moon, so this is about manifesting. New moon is about, as you know, this is the prep work. The new moon is on the 22nd. So this is the prep work I'm doing. Yes, I have a Virgo moon. But I like to go through and, go through her suggestions, see what might work. So over on the left, I have my full moon check-in, which I did an intuitive oracle poll. And I answered I used the check-in that I got from Alexis Raccoon, who's just a really cool artist and spiritual sister. And I tune it up, I always tune up shit so that the language, like when I say it, I'm aligned, I'm connected, I'm congruent, I get that aha feeling, that excitement through the circuitry and the feeling in the heart when, you're just really jamming with something. Think about like when you go, oh my God, that's my song. Like I love the song Come Together. So the full moon check-in, which I had done a video on before, but just real quick, what I was grateful for in the previous month, wisdom and I tuned this up, I want to become aware of. And in April, what is it that I intend to manifest? What is the habits I want to change? And in terms of the wisdom I became aware of, what was in my work this past month? What was a recurring theme in terms of a trigger? For me, what came up, and I'll give you guys just the basics. As we all know, the real magic is in the details. And that's my stuff. That's where I go in deep, and that's the stuff you keep close to the bone. So I use a lot of generalities when I talk about magic. Purposely because I think it's great to use, this is why I'm doing it, is to build my own intuition. So I stay away from more detailed spells and rituals, and I call myself a modern eclectic witch, and I go more with what, fires off the endocrine system, fires off, the circuitry and that, thing where as women we know when something just has our attention. So the shadow work that I was doing was a lot about stop hiding. This is a lot what these videos are about. And releasing kind of like a lot of times with especially early childhood trauma, I get frozen, so I go into trances where like I go into my creative brain and I go into a creative trance and I close my eyes, but I tend to rush through it because I still was holding that trigger when I close my eyes, that fear of being found. The fear of someone seeing what I'm doing and asking too many questions. All early childhood trauma stuff. So, like, if I got found, that would really fucking suck. If my predator found my hiding space, then I was usually dragged out of my hiding space and submitted to whatever pain and suffering they wanted to inflict on me. So yeah, like, meditation fucked with me for years. And this is one of the reasons why I love witchcraft, especially when working with trauma, is witchcraft is so much about being powerful in the moment, being powerful in our surroundings, being powerful in nature. So when working with the moon cycles, like new moon coming up, it fine-tunes my attention to the now. It fine-tunes to me, like, what is going on. It brings, following the moon cycles brings me back to my attention. So a lot of times, like, I used to do what's called spray and pray when I used to study goals, and I studied NLP and things like that because I used to be so upset that I sucked at goals and I couldn't manifest stuff and I had a hard time focusing. So learning different behavior modifications through hypnotherapy, it really opened up to me the possibilities of the changes I can make with my own triggers and survivor brain, and see that by, you can't heal what you don't call out, what you don't name. And now having a container where we do go into those trances, but we're able to take the information from the trance and pour it out onto a journal page, pour it out into the Book of Shadows, pour it out in ritual and spell work, and then that's where the craft starts. Then there's the awareness of what was holding you back, what was the old fear, how's it still tying into what's going on with you now, and where that shift, that you can adjust the dial of your beliefs and thinking and be able to see, okay, that's something from long ago. I was having this discussion in my DMs with someone. They liked something that I had shared in my stories, and they said, oh, I wish I had been brought up this way or that way. And I'm like, we all wish we had been brought up this way or that way. So many of us were caught up in like the good girl cycle, more like a trap. We were just constantly falling in the pit of poo over and over and over because there was this intention to put your attention on other people. And so there was a lack of awareness of how to move forward in our own life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, how to care for our own earthship as opposed to neglecting until it falls apart. I would just push and push and push myself in all areas of my life. And I would want to change careers, and I would want a relationship, and I would want better health, and none of these things would happen because when a trigger would come up, my coping mechanism, which for me has always been emotional eating, and when I started doing this work and I started doing witchcraft, the need to emotionally eat just fell away because I was consistent with my attention on my intentions and filtering out and rearranging priorities. So instead of putting my focus outside of my craft work and my health became my compass. And when I started doing that, everything else just slid together. Relationships and career and projects and focus. And then for me now, it's more of like, okay, I'm working on what I'm focusing on. And I'm making progress. And then a trigger happens, and it's like a hiccup. It's a disruptor. And I did what my mom did, is that we never planned for the hiccups. So we would always be extremely ambitious in our plans. And in the past, I've been extremely ambitious in my new moon rituals and new moon plans. And then I get upset that I overscheduled. I based it on believing I would have an energy level that at the moment I didn't have. So I've learned how to really scale back on what I do to match my energy levels that I'm currently dealing with. So what I have here, I am using a yellow green because I want to do a really bright, colorful pop on this. And going into the new moon, I want to use her page in the 2020 Magical Planner, Amy's page in the Coloring Book of Shadows. And she talks about a witch's garden, growing your magic on earth and spirit. And I love this. This right here really spoke to me. April bursts forth with a powerful and deeply spiritual essence of new life. It can feel awesome, yet also chaotic and unsettling. And that hit home for me because we're definitely surrounded by chaotic and unsettling energy as Mother Earth and human beings and Mother and nature is all going through this huge shift and change. And we're just holding on for the riding the flow to our best abilities. But she says the wild energy of but it's also like the wild energy of the wind and the sun. So there also is this anticipation that something very new and different will come out of this, and how involved we are in our own magic, our own focus, where we are putting what our intentions are. Are we keeping our attention, our intentions? This to me is working the she magic. Are we working with the elements? Are we spending time in nature with earth, with air, with metal, with water, with fire, with ether? I'm a body worker, do a lot of Eastern medicine, so I like to always put in metal because I think in meridians. And then I think of the seeds I want to plant from the questions I had and where I looked at my shadows, and yet healthy earthship. And I like saying earthship because to me that encompasses everything, the mental and spiritual and physical, because it all works together. There's only one cell, and that cell is tabula rasa. And then we make more cells, and the cells go into the different systems, and the different systems manage the different departments that make up us, right? Patience. So that's a big one for me right now. Being patient with my intuition, being patient, slowing down, asking more questions, getting clear on what my intention is. Okay, where do I want to decrease my pain levels? Where do I want to increase my energy levels? How much more time do I want to put into my she craft daily? Where is it that I want to level up in terms of my creativity? What are projects I want to do? Where can I make that shift? And also take care of and tend to my home, my nest the way I want to, in a way that's comfortable, and make sure that I prioritize my health and my fuel and the food that I'm putting into me. So that whole picture of taking care of myself is priority. And then that is the support under the intentions that I have for whatever it is that I want to manifest for my future, that changes the environment, or putting my attention into a group, a Mother Earth healing. Now she talks about planting seeds in this, and I'll be honest, my husband has a green thumb, and for a Taurus it's kind of crazy. I lack a green thumb. So I like to do a visualization of going to my celestial witch's cottage that I have built in the creative ethers, and I have a witch's garden that surrounds it. So I'm gonna do a visualization outdoor so that I'm physically grounding and touching trees and dirt, but that I'm manifesting these seeds, these intention, in a visualization. And by using the colors that work with the second chakra, which is a cycle we're in, so tapping into that extra energy boost, I bring that to my feelings, which is the second chakra. I use the orange to remind myself to trust my intuition and explore. Peace out. Happy